All right. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everyone is doing well on this Thursday. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to be with everybody, coming to you live here on Facebook. If you guys can hear me, if everything's coming in clearly, you guys can see the video, let me know in the chat there. I do see that looks like Facebook did make some changes to the way videos are displaying, at least on my end, so I want to make sure it's all good on your guys' end as well. But once again, welcome everybody. Hopefully you're doing well. If you're new here, glad you could make it here today. To give you a little insight on what we do, every Thursday we go live here on Facebook where we talk about, what's going on in the market, what to expect going forward. Then we talk about a specific topic. Today we're going to be looking at safety and how it plays an important factor into anyone's portfolio, regardless of what style of investor you are. Then, as always, we do finish off at the very end with a personal fan favorite of analyzing any stock that you want to take a look at in less than 20 seconds. So give me one moment. I don't see any comments coming through yet, so that tells me something may be off with the comments. So just bear with me there. Let me try refreshing it here. There we go. Awesome. So now I can finally see comments. Good morning. Hello, Steve, Roy, Jerry, Arbin, Carrington, Alex, Jay, Chris, Jennifer. Glad to see you. Jerry, once again, trying to get rich over time. That's what I like to hear. That's why we're here today. Good audio, video. Thank you for that, Cole. Awesome. So we see a lot of people finally tuned in for some reason. I wasn't able to see the chat, but now everything looks good. So with that, let's go ahead, jump right into it here today. We've got a lot to talk about. The markets have been a little crazy here so far. For anybody though that's just tuning in, that's not familiar with the setup, above me I do have the VectorVest 7 platform, which is our desktop platform. It does have the opportunity to give you real-time data as well. If you're ever interested in it, just simply give our support a call. They can go over your options. Today, though, what we like to focus on is the premium version of the mobile app. So the mobile app is the great on-the-go tool that will allow you to analyze what's going on in the market, analyze your stocks, tell you when to get in, when to buy, when to sell, all of that. If you need to find good stocks to get into, it can help you out with that as well. All right, so let's go ahead, jump right into the homepage here today and take a look at what's going on. All right, so I see Kyle's tuned in for the first time. Welcome, Kyle. Glad to have you here. Volume is okay. Everybody's saying the volume's okay. So if you have issues with the volume, just simply turn up the volume on your device or computer, whatever you're watching it from. That should probably fix the issue there. All right. So as we can see right now, the market's 3 ticks into the yellow. Therefore, VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. We've seen caution a lot the last few days. And for anybody who's new, when we see that caution light, we really want to see what's going on in the market. If we're looking for an opportunity to buy, then we'll take a look at the advanced declines to get that confirmation of whether or not we could go ahead. The way we look at this is just like a traffic light or when you're driving down the road. The red is going to be telling you to stop or simply do not buy. Yellow, sometimes you go through yellow, sometimes you don't. And then green tells you it's okay to be buying or you can go through. Now, to determine whether or not that yellow is a good time to buy or, is simply a time to slow down, hold off, we scroll down here and take a look at the advanced declines. So the advanced declines is looking at the number of stocks moving higher today compared to the number of stocks moving lower today. And when we look at the advanced declines, what we typically like to see is twice as many stocks moving in favor of whichever way you're trying to get in. So if you're trying to buy a stock long today, we want to see twice as many stocks moving higher or advancing than declining. And if we're trying to, buy a contra ETF or sell a short position or open a short position, we want to see at least twice as many stocks declining than advancing. Right now, we don't really have a bias either way. We have 36% of stocks moving higher and about 52% of stocks moving lower. So we do see more of a bearish bias, more stocks declining than advancing, but not that 2-to-1 bias we like to see. So therefore, probably going to hold off from buying anything today, just simply managing our current holdings. Last week we talked about divergences, what we were seeing in the market, and how that could affect us. And so, with that, we're still seeing the market moving sideways. We still have a lot of indecision, haven't quite clearly broken out either direction. It was looking like the end of last week that we were going to break out to the upside, but we're just kind of moving sideways, just trying to stay afloat right now. So, let's go ahead, scroll back up, take a look at the color guard. Now, the color guard analyzes the market for 3 key components each and every day. The first one is the price, which is an arithmetic indexed average of about 8,200 stocks that we track in the US market. And we feel this gives us a better representation than just looking at the Dow's 30 or the Nasdaq's 100 or even the S&P's 500. Then we get the RT, which is looking at the short-term price trend, and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. Above 1 shows the short-term trend of the market is up. Below 1, short-term trend of the market is down. So 1.10, short-term trend of the market still remains up, but it has been, moving sideways once again, kind of confirming that there. And then we look at the BSR, the buy to sell ratio. Every single day, VectorVest gives a buy, hold, and sell rating on each stock that we track in the database. So there's about 8,200 stocks that all have either a buy, hold, or sell rating. And we use the difference between the buys and sells to give us an idea on the overall health of the market. So when there's more stocks that have a buy than a sell, that tells us there's more stocks participating in the market. Therefore, that shows strength to the overall market. When the buy to sell ratio is below 1, that shows us there's more sells than buys in the database, or that there's overall weakness in the market. So at 2.69, that tells us we do see, the majority of stocks still participating currently in the market right now. But once again, it's just been moving sideways. Overall, it's been moving lower over the longer term, over the last, or actually more of the medium term. But for the short term, it's just really been, trying to stay afloat, just moving sideways for the time being. Let's see. If you guys have questions, if you're new here and you want to analyze your stocks, make sure to stick around to the end, because that's when we will talk about analyzing your stocks, showing you how you can do so with the app. So if you guys have stocks you want to analyze, make sure to stick around towards the end. Let's see. Is this for more long-term traders? So Steve, today's session is going to be focused more on a longer-term style of investing, but even short-term traders still have their core holdings, so this could still be pertinent for you as well. The mobile app in general, though, has everything you need for whatever style of investing you are, whether you're a day trader, swing trader, momentum trader, long-term buy and hold, all of that. The Stock Advisory app can really cover any sort of trading style that you would be looking for here. Only thing that we don't really track is currencies. Let's see, currencies, foreign exchange, those types of things. But stocks, ETFs, options, all of that is our bread and butter here. All right. Awesome. So, as we can see, everything just really moving sideways right now. MTI still stays in that lofty level above 1.6, telling us that there's more downside risk than upside potential currently, telling us we probably shouldn't be buying any new stocks at this time, simply waiting for the market to really play itself out before looking for a better buying opportunity. Then we get the trend up, so the weekly trend of the market is up. Also, the underlying trend of the market is up as well. And then we get the calls column, which stands for our confirmed calls. Now, our confirmed calls are our most conservative timing system. They're our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. As you can see, we still remain in confirmed up situation as of today. So therefore, if you're a long-term investor, which is what we're going to be looking at here, we'd still be holding our current long positions, letting our stops do their job and just be, monitoring those on a day-to-day basis here. Let's see. Awesome. So guys, Facebook does seem to have some issues where the chat's not updating. So if I miss a question periodically, I do apologize for that. Just want to throw that out there. I have to keep refreshing it manually to get the chat to update. So if I miss a question, I'm not trying to ignore you. Just want to throw that out there. Just have to, just have to manually update Facebook, the Facebook comments there for us. So I do apologize if I miss a comment or question that comes through. I will try to keep that going as fast as possible and as regular as possible there. All right. So we've looked at the advanced declines. We see we don't have a 2-to-1 advanced to declines bias. So therefore, we're probably not buying stocks today. Just simply currently managing our stops managing our stocks with our stop criteria, letting that do its job, letting that, keep us disciplined and keep us systematic in our approach. We look at the major indices though. The Dow is basically flat. Nasdaq's down just slightly, but it was up earlier, so essentially flat for the day. Same with the S&P. VectorVest Composite, however, looks like it was underwater most of the morning and still continues to pick up that downward trend currently. Just taking a quick look at it on a one-day graph here, we can see we had some sideways action, more of a channel until about 9:45, 10 o'clock this morning. But then since that point, we've really seen it start to take a breather, start to pull back, giving us some signs of caution currently. But looking at a 1 month, still see a nice upward trend. DPO still moving higher over the last month. 3 months, a little bit different of a picture. Price is hitting a new high, but DPO is hitting a lower high, not confirming that new high, therefore creating that bearish divergence we talked about last week. So just wanted to point that out for anybody new, because I see a lot of people saying that they're new here today. So want to make sure everybody's on the same page here. Regan, there is ways of getting notifications. Give our support a call. They can help you out. I don't know what notification you're specifically referring to, but give our support a call. They can help you out. All right. So with that, let's go ahead, move back in here to 6 month. 6 month, we're still at a lower high compared to where we were back at the beginning of February. DPO slowly drifting lower, giving us a little bit of worry right now for the first time, or for the last few months or so. All right. So today, what we're going to be focusing on is more of stocks with safety. Safety is important regardless of what style investor you are, because it allows us to be able to sleep better at night. It allows us to keep more disciplined in our approach to investing. It allows us to, know that we're getting into fundamentally sound companies. And what do I mean by fundamentally sound? I mean the companies that are consistently growing their earnings quarter over quarter, year over year. Because companies that are doing that tells us that those companies are making money. And people buy companies that are making money. There are speculators out there that buy companies based off of rumor. But for the long haul, buy companies that are making money, because that's where, people put their money into. Money goes where money grows, as the old saying goes. And VectorVest makes it simple to find those stocks at, just a matter of seconds. So what we want to do is we want to go down to the pick section at the bottom, and under the retirement stocks, overall top rated stocks is great. What we're going to be focusing on here today though is safest stocks. Now what safest stocks is the stocks with the highest RS. If you're not familiar with RS, let's go ahead and go to CRM, for example. We'll pull up an analysis report and take a look at RS together. So we'll scroll down here. As an indicator of risk. As you can see, it tells you cast on what scaling it is, how it fares on that scaling. You can see this on any stock that you want to. But then we scroll down here. It's computed from an analysis of the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance, debt to equity ratios, sales volume, business longevity, price volatility, and a few other factors. Now, essentially what this is doing is the higher the RS score, the more consistent the fundamentals, more consistent the stock is at growing their earnings quarter over quarter, year over year, growing their price, all of that. Essentially the RS rating is the sleep factor, as I like to call it. Stocks with the highest RS are the ones that you can sleep better at night holding on to, especially when, you have a lot of fears in the market, a lot of people worried about what's going on. Following high RS stocks can help make your life a lot easier. So, for example, CRM. Markets are kind of mixed today. We take a look, stock has a little bit lower than what we would want on RV, but as a long-term holding, we're not really worried about, outperforming over the next 1 to 3 years. We're not looking for, explosive stocks. We're looking for more smooth and consistent stocks that have strong fundamentals. And then we look at the RS, 1.47, the highest RS stock in the whole entire US market out of 8,200 stocks. Looking at the RT, 1.33 tells us a nice steady uptrend. Then overall, the VST, 1.29, stock is favorable still. We take a look at the graph. We have the price shown at the top. I'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Let me go ahead and switch that over. There we go. So this is over the last 6 months. As we can see, it has been on a nice steady upturn ever since the lows back around the middle of March. We look at 1 year. It is not only making a great recovery because it has solid fundamentals, but it's also hitting a new high as of the last few weeks, telling us that, people are buying into it, which is driving that price higher and higher. And stocks that, are hitting new highs for a reason. And obviously, with the high RS, we all know the reason now. Taking a look at CSGP, so CoStar Group. David is asking, are the settings for the DPO fixed or can they be modified? Yes, they can be modified there, David. We've done a bunch of videos showing you how to customize your graphs. But yeah, everything or all the technical indicators can be modified. So CSPG, as we look back over the last year, barely any pullback from the sell-off that happened around February till the middle of March. But then price quickly recovered, just gapped up. I'm assuming most likely on a earnings announcement. But with that, let's see. Okay. But with that, at $828 a share, hey, not the highest. We've definitely seen people buying Amazon at $2,000 plus a share. So, 800, maybe you keep it, maybe you won't. Let's simply move on. So we scroll to the next one, Lulu. This is one that's been, consistent in the top performers or top RS stocks for years here at VectorVest. You can see it did have a pullback with pretty much everything else in the market, but then quickly rallied back and is now at fresh new highs here. It has slowed down a little bit after that big run up that it had from the beginning of March until now, or until about the middle of May, end of June, or beginning of June. But at the same time, higher highs, higher lows, by definition, still in an uptrend. Even looking at it on a 5-year basis, look at that. It's gone from $50 a share back in 2015 to $300 almost $50 a share as of the last couple of days. Let me see, just by, saying yay or nay in chat, who wouldn't want to own a stock that's gone from $50 a share to $350 a share in 5 years? I know I definitely would. Call Deep, that was last week's live stream. So you can always go back and watch any of our live streams because they're recorded on our Facebook page there. All right, looking at Trex, another one. Another great 5-year look. Gone from around $20 a share all the way to $140. Solid performer. 3 months, nice steady uptrend. 6 months, nice steady uptrend. 1 year, had a slight pullback, but has really recovered nicely, blasting off to new highs, just like a lot of these stocks that we're looking at here. And now, when you're looking for long-term holdings, maybe, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year isn't long enough. So always take a look at the 5-year. Whenever you're looking at your time frame on a graph, it should be based upon the time frame that you're expecting to hold it. If you're looking for long-term core holdings that you can hold for, not just a short-term swing trade period, but longer buy and hold, 1 year, 5 year, that kind of time frame is the time frame that you should be looking at. So looking at it from a 5-year time frame, we can see nice steady rise in price. Once again, from $20 a share all the way up to $140. Now, as we mentioned, earnings is going to be the engine that drives stock prices higher over time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to the lower indicator, changing it to EPS. Let's look at earnings per share on these. Over the last 5 years, a nice steady rise in price, also a nice steady rise in earnings from bottom left to upper right, almost like a stair-step pattern. Now, as I've mentioned multiple times, but once again, we have a lot of new people here, so I do want to make sure everyone's on the same page. When looking at our earnings per share number, it's not going to be based upon, what their last statement said it was. Our earnings per share number is looking at not only the historical numbers, but also a 12-month down the road forecasted earnings per share as well, based on some of the major analyst opinions out there. So when you look at our earnings per share, it's saying not only is this company making money, but the big money out there and the big analysts out there are expecting this stock to continue to make money 12 months down the road. So this gives you more insight into the company's earnings than just looking at, what their most recent number was. Because it's not just looking at historical performance, but also future expectations as well, to give you a leg up on, the competition or other investors or traders out there. Let's go on to the next one. Adobe. Look at that 5-year graph. It's gone from $100 a share, just slightly shy of $100, to almost $500 a share. Look at those earnings. Nice steady rise from bottom left to upper right. Company's been making money over the last 5 years and continued and expected to continue to make money going forward over the next 12 months as well. So as you can see though, getting back into it, VectorVest does all the work for you. When looking at this list of stocks, we are automatically bringing the best stocks to the top of the list and the worst stocks to the bottom. So that way you don't have to spend a lot of time, figuring out which one is best for you. When looking at a list like this, start at the very top and simply work your way down. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own personal views on certain stocks and what they're looking for. So obviously, spend 5, 10, maybe 20 seconds max looking at a graph. If the stock or the graph doesn't sell itself to you, most likely you're looking for a reason to buy that stock rather than, having the stock sell itself to you essentially, and simply move on. Don't spend more than at most 20 seconds ever looking at the graph of a stock, because that will tell you right then and there whether or not it's emotions wanting to get into the stock or whether, it's the data that's showing you, hey, this looks like a great opportunity for me. Let's see. Salam is asking, how do you know if a stock is at a peak and will it start to trend down? So Salim, answering that, nobody knows. There's nowhere out there that tells you, hey, this stock is going to start going down tomorrow. If there was, everybody would be using it and nobody be wrong, because everybody be using that one system and making sure they get out all at the same time. And that would cause crazy volatility in the market. Everybody trying to dump their shares all at the same time. Now, with that being said though, what VectorVest does, it sets us apart from everywhere else, is that we do give you guidance in the market guidance videos on a nightly basis. Also with our color guard here, where we look at the MTI, for example. The MTI tells us on an overall market basis that the market's getting top heavy and that we're starting to see more downside risk than upside potential. Now, when we see that, based upon what we do here at VectorVest, this would be a time that we would tell you to start, tightening up your stops a little bit and maybe hold off from buying new stocks. So let your stops, do the work for you, take you out of your positions if necessary, but as long as they go up, you continue to make more money in them. And then when the MTI starts to hit those oversold levels that we talk about quite a lot here, that's the time that you can start getting back in, or once we start seeing confirmation that the bottom has been formed, that's the time you can start loading back up, getting back in, buying stocks at a bargain, buying good fundamentally sound stocks at a bargain, and all of that there. So, to answer your question simply, there is no indicator that tells you this is exactly a top and that you are going to be moving lower. If you find one, let me know. So Jacob, over the last few months, glad you asked that question, asking why are the stocks I buy from the app recommended I'm down. Obviously, this is your first time here, that tells me. Every single week we say market timing trumps any individual rating on a stock. Just because a stock has a buy rating, if you're not looking at what's going on in the overall market right now, the odds are against you. What VectorVest does is put probability on your side. We look at the market direction first and foremost. If the overall market is not rising, then the likelihood that you're going to be buying a stock that is rising is very slim. And what we've been talking about is that the market has been top heavy for about the last month or so, maybe even a little bit longer, but at least the last month or so, telling us that we really need to be careful. Right now is not necessarily the best time to be buying stocks. Market has been starting to get more and more narrowed in what's actually making money right now compared to what it was, let's say March and April. These are reasons that we have these live sessions every single week, that we strongly urge people to join us and talk about these topics every single week. Because, unlike what the talking heads on TV say, not every day is a good day to be buying. And even if a stock has a buy rating, if VectorVest is telling us simply hold off from buying or simply use caution, then most likely you should probably hold off from buying that. And most likely your stock, whatever stock it is you're getting into, is not going to have the same success that, it would have if you're buying in when the market overall is telling us that, it's oversold, it's a good time to be getting back in. So Alex, I've looked at everything on my end is fine with the volume. Everybody else is saying volume is fine. So if you're having issues with volume, I would definitely make sure your speakers are turned up. Cause everything on my end is working out great. Everything in OBS is telling me I'm right on key with all my volume levels. So not sure why some people are having issues, some people aren't. It could also be, I noticed Facebook did do an update, so could also be something going on with Facebook, because I noticed the video and all that looks different, and the chat is also a little quirky today as well. So that's the best I got for you though. All right. What are important indicators to sell? So Mike, we did a video, 4 tips to know when to sell. Definitely go check that out. That'll answer that question for you. All right. So if anybody has questions while going through any of this, never hesitate to give our support a call as well. They're glad to help you out, especially on the app, walk you through whatever you're looking for, help you find exactly the type of stocks that you're interested in. Essentially the easiest way, just simply click on picks. We talked about hot stocks and high momentum stocks for short-term trading right now. But if you're looking for long-term holdings, retirement stocks, the safest stocks, is going to be the best place to go regardless of who you are. Obviously, as always, as we just mentioned, keep in mind what's going on in the market. Keep in mind where the MTI is at. Keep in mind the divergences we talked about last week. Keep in mind all of that here because, while some of these have been hitting fresh highs, if the market starts to sell off, even the most fundamentally sound stocks out there can have a pullback, and that would give you a better buying opportunity here. So with that, let's go ahead, finish off here today looking at analyzing your stocks and showing you how you can do so in less than 20 seconds. So I'll go to the overview page, go to the magnifying glass at the top. HMY is one of the first ones I see. Also, before we get into this, just wanted to let everybody know from the update from last week. We did a contest, or we did a poll here asking your guys' opinions of what we wanted our group chat to be named. The winner for that is the high flyers, the VV high flyers. So if you're new here, if you've been in here for a while, high flyers is the winner. Let's get some hashtag VV high flyers in the chat there. Let's see everybody showing some support for that. And appreciate everybody who cast their vote and put in their opinion. Glad we finally got that settled, and now we can compete with VV Nation over on our YouTube page as well. All right, so let's take a look. HMY, as always, we look at these 4 indicators to help us simplify the analysis on a stock. All 4 of these indicators are cast on the scale of 0 to 2. Above 1 is favorable, below 1 is unfavorable. So the first one, RV, is the long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years compared to a AAA corporate bond. Well above 1 tells us HMY has great long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. Looking at the RS, basically a little bit below 1, telling us there's a little bit more risk involved with this stock compared to the average stock out there. So maybe, not necessarily for the most, or the faint of heart investors. You got to take a little bit more risk on this one. But the timing, 1.89, really, really strong uptrend. So overall, this stock is definitely favorable. All right, down a little bit here today though. But overall, still a great looking opportunity here. Betting on Tesla, should I hold them for long? Let's take a look. TSLA. There we go. Also, if you haven't already hit that like button, don't forget to do so. Don't forget to hit that share button as well. All that helps me out, lets me know you guys are enjoying yourselves here today, and learn something at least. All right, so looking at Tesla. Tesla has about average long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. Pretty solid fundamentals though. Consistent earnings performance here so far. Really hot uptrend on a short-term basis. Overall, the stock is still favorable. Looking at it from a technical basis, though, let's go ahead and zoom into 1 month. 1 month, the stock is flat. Really, if anything, it's more of consolidation that you're seeing right now. You're seeing a pattern of lower highs and also higher lows. Any Jockey Club members will instantly point that out as a wicked wedge, and that is consolidation. The stock has gone up tremendously this year alone. Who knows how long it's going to continue to go up, but that's why you have stops in place. Let your stops do their jobs. That's the best answer we can give on that one. Brett, stops are what's going to tell you when to sell. DOCU. So DOCU, average long-term potential, a little bit more risk than the average stock out there. Really hot short-term uptrend though. Overall, stock is favorable for the time being. PENN. All right, so poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with this stock, but you have a really strong momentum play here. So for momentum traders out there, the stock is favorable, but for fundamental traders, fundamental investors, probably going to be staying away from that one. LGIH. So this one, good long-term potential, less risk associated with it. Really nice, strong short-term uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. Alcoa, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but you have a really nice short-term momentum push behind it to the upside. Therefore, the stock is favorable right now. ONTX. So this isn't what I'm thinking of the stock. My personal beliefs are not in this. This is what VectorVest allows us to do there, is it allows us to get a systematic approach and not an emotional approach to investing. Numbers and studies have shown time and time again, by using a systematic approach, you can greatly increase your performance over the long haul for investing. So ONTX, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. The stock is moving sideways on a short-term basis. Therefore, the stock is not favorable currently. Let's see. Shop. Let's go ahead and get that in. see. All right, we'll get a couple more in here today. All right, so looking at Shopify, you have poor long-term potential, but a lot of good consistent earnings. So solid fundamental company here. Nice steady short-term uptrend, strong uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. And also, if you're new here and you haven't or you want to do this analysis on your own, I strongly urge you to click on that link in the description of the video. You can download and start your access just like you're seeing here right away. If you're already a subscriber, don't hesitate to pull up the app. You can do the same thing we're doing here on the go at any time on any stock that you want to take a look at. All right, let's see. SEA. So C Limited, SE. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but on a short-term basis, it is a rocket right now. It's blasting off 1.95, really strong short-term uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable for the time being. FSLY. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing 1.35. Overall, the stock is not favorable. It's a speculative play. It's down 19% here today. You had a strong momentum push higher, and then just as fast as it went up, it came down just as fast. So that's what you're going to get with speculative stocks. Great for day traders, those types of traders. For long-term investors, not the best of stocks to get into. GSM, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with this stock. It's in a steady decline. Overall, stock is not favorable. Pfizer, PFI, let's see, PFE, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with this stock. It's in a slight uptrend. Overall, the stock's about average. Honestly, I'd probably wait to see that RT pick up a little bit more before ever taking a piece of that pie. AXU, great long-term potential, but does have some additional risk associated with it. Nice strong uptrend, so therefore the stock's favorable. More of an aggressive play, but a good opportunity nonetheless. Let's see. APT. Is asking good earnings, but price dropped. Hey, that happened to GM. Granted, they were forecasting a lot worse and they were better than expected, but they were still losing. I don't know the specifics on this company's earnings. But I mean, only down 2%, market's at a top. Definitely the time to start tightening up stops at minimum there, but you have good long-term potential, solid fundamentals, nice steady uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. Just let your stops do the job. Definitely seen a lot of volatility in this stock over the last, few months. 6 months, you had that huge spike there, came tumbling back down. So yeah, you do have some volatility with it. Let's see. MARA. There we go. Poor long-term potential. A lot of risk associated with it, but it's basically a bottle rocket right now. It's shooting up to the sky, 2.0 on the RT. Therefore, the stock is favorable. LVGO. All right, we'll do a couple more. LVGO. Poor long-term potential. Does have a lot of risk associated with it, but you have some strong momentum behind it right now. Therefore, the stock is favorable only if you're more of a momentum trader. So leave it at that. All right, two more. WYNN. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk, and a steady decline. Therefore, the stock is not favorable. And then DAL. Same situation. Poor long-term potential, additional risk associated with this stock. It's in a steady decline. Therefore, the stock is not favorable. So if we go back to the homepage to recap here today what's going on, we see right now we are 3 ticks into the yellow. We have our 3 yellow lights across the top of the color guard. MTI still holding at 1.64, still in an up. Confirmed call is not going to change right now. Looking at the advanced declines, still sitting at 36% of stocks moving higher, now 53% of stocks moving lower, so the decliner is picking up just slightly here. Then looking at the major indices, the Dow is essentially flat still. NASDAQ coming back a little bit, but still flat for the day, same as the S&P, whereas the VectorVest composite continues to move lower here, giving us a true representation on what's going on in the market. So on that note, once again, it's been my pleasure being with you guys today. Thank you everyone for continuing to show or give your support here. Once again, if you haven't already done so, make sure to hit that like button, share this with your friends, share this with your family, and put in hashtag VV High Flyers into the chat there, into the comments there. Let's get some support going for that. And on that note, you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, a great rest of your trading session. Take care, have a good weekend, and make sure to be here next Thursday as we kick off another live stream going over even more information on how to make money with the Stock Advisory app. So take care. Once again, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you all next week. Bye for now, everybody.
Yeah.